everyone, it's Monica from Yellow Brick DIY, and today I'm going to make this quick video to show you how to create our adorable pumpkin snowman reversible stacker little sign here. So I'm going to walk you through what you have in your kit and some tips. I'm not going to paint the entire project here with you for time's sake, but I'm going to give you the tips and tricks on how to create it perfectly at home. So when you open up your kit, you're going to notice that you have your hat, your scarf, they're separate in the big kit. In the small kit, they are all together in this bag. This little bag here is your little piece bag. Everything you need for the pumpkin and the snowman are in this bag, along with the Velcro that you need to attach the hat to the snowman. So first things first, we're gonna stick that little bag to the side. You'll also notice that you have your stand. Your large stand has two pieces here that are going to get glued together. The small stand only has one. But all kits have this little piece of blue painter's tape on the large part of your stand. Now that's going to be to hold your little pieces together. And what I mean by that is when it comes time to paint your little add-ons like the snowman's eyes and his buttons and all of that good stuff that are slightly on the smaller side, you'll just take those pieces and you'll stick them right here to the painter's tape. I'm just going to dump this out. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 little circles for his mouth, 2 larger circles for his eyes. We have this little piece here that's just a little knot for the scarf. That'll go right in the middle of the scarf. And then you have a heart, his buttons, a snowflake, and the cardinal, and his nose. Now, so you'll just take these right here on the tape. You'll take your makeup sponge, dip it into your black paint. A little bit goes a long way. Always dab off some extra paint onto that sponge, off of that sponge, I would say. And then you're just dabbing the whole time. You're dabbing along. So see how the painter's tape just really helps keep everything in place. It makes it so that these little pieces aren't moving all over the place. You're not getting it all over your fingers. It's a lot cleaner. It's a lot easier. And it keeps everything all in one space. Now, this isn't enough tape to fit every little part on at once. So once you have this done and you know you don't, sometimes you need a second coat, sometimes you don't. Whenever you're happy with it, then just go ahead and plop it off, stick it to the side, and go ahead and stick something else to the tape. But that's what that's for. So I wanted to start off with that because a lot of people kind of disregard that tape, but I want you to know that it is there for a reason and it is important. It's super, super helpful. And that's the gist of how you're going to paint all of these little parts. Even these parts here that have these lines scored over them, you'll just go ahead and take that sponge. As long as you don't use a lot of paint and you always dab off your excess paint, you're just going to go ahead and dab right over those lines and you'll still be able to see them. They'll come right through the paint and it won't cover it all up. So that's a pretty cool little trick. And like I said, that goes for all of these parts as well. So I'm going to toss that to the side and we're going to get started on the main part of your board. Now you'll notice in your kit you have a bag that looks like this. They have some baby wipes in them. Now what that's for is to do the main part here. Now I've already started for a different class that I did, but I'm going to walk you guys through. You're going to take a baby wipe, fold it to your liking, dip it into your orange paint, dab a little bit off, and you're literally just going to wipe it right here onto this board. Now, you don't want to start your first little swipe right into a line. These have these little shiplap lines scored onto them. Don't start right on the line, but you can see I can go right over that line as long as I don't have too much paint and no paint will seep into that line. You'll still be able to see it. And you're literally going to do this until the whole board is covered. Now, the cool thing about the baby wipe is the amount is up to you. The more you wipe, the more wood grain shows, the more you're taking the paint away. So it's essentially lighter. The less you wipe, the more paint remains on the board and you see a deeper color. So it's really up to you. Also, with the orange that's in your kit, it's kind of a perfect medium orange. You can absolutely leave it as is, like I'm doing for this one. And I mean, I love this color. Or you can add some of the included white paint to lighten it up. You can add some of the included black paint to darken it up. It's really completely up to you, and it's versatile without having to give 3 different shades of orange. So it's a pretty cool thing there. You guys can all make your kits look differently, even though you were given the same colors. And that's it. That's what you're going to do for the entire board. You're going to just take that baby wipe and wipe it. Let it dry. If you want to do another coat, you absolutely can. And another cool little trick is you can take the other baby wipe that you have in your kit, and you can take a little bit of white or a little bit of black, a little bit. Make sure you really dab that off. And you can add some dimension to this and kind of distress it. You can just take the baby wipe, add a little bit of dimension to it. The more you wipe, the more of that paint you're taking off. So you can really distress this. If you went with a little bit of a darker color like the black, dab that paint off of there. Just do a couple swipes, very lightly, couple swipes. Then take a part of your makeup sponge that doesn't have any paint and wipe that in. You'll see it kind of melts that color in. And this is where you can get insanely creative. You can just add texture and dimension, and don't be afraid, because don't forget, your letters are going to go over top of it. So it's not like you see every single piece of it, but that's just a couple little tricks too. You can make it solid orange and not distress it. Distress is not for everybody. So that's the gist with your pumpkin backer board. Then we're going to move on to the letters for that pumpkin. And the same deal as what we did for the eyes and nose and all that jazz for the snowman parts. That's the same thing we're going to do here for this. We're going to take our makeup sponge. I'm using my white paint. Always dab some off. And the entire time you're dabbing. It's so simple. Now, if you want to get in there with a paintbrush and you want to color these leaves a different color, color the letters different, you absolutely can. But if you're like me and you want to keep it simple, I did my whole example in one color. I just dabbed the entire time right over this, and that's it. It's so easy. Now, if you get some paint along the sides, which you may, you can take that baby wipe. I gave you an extra in your kit, and as long as that paint is still wet, just go ahead and take that baby wipe and it'll clean that edge right off for you. And it just gives it a more professional finish along the sides instead of seeing all that paint. So there's another tip. Now, when you've completed everything, you'll go ahead and you'll glue this right on top. Just make sure that you take the leaves and line those up, because there's this space here that needs to be left open for your stuff to sit into your stand. So just make sure that when you line it up here along the top, and then everything will fit into place. And your wood glue is labeled. It does look like a little lip balm container, but I promise you it is not lip balm, and you do not want to put it on your lips. That's why I labeled it wood glue. So you'll unscrew it and you'll take a little bit, dab it along, Take one of your leftover makeup sponges and just kind of swipe it. This way it's not too globby. And when you do put it on the pumpkin, don't panic. Sometimes the glue will seep out. If it happens, take what you can, a toothpick, even your finger or the sponge. Try to swipe out as much of the glue as you can, but I promise you in a few hours, it does dry pretty clear and you won't really see it. But you know, you want to get as much out as you can, but don't panic if you can't get it all out. I promise you it'll still look beautiful and it will dry essentially clear. Okay, so let's flip this over and let's get on to our snowman. In your supply bag, you have a little foam brush that looks like this. You'll take that foam brush, dip it into your white paint, and you're just painting. It's super, super, super easy. You can absolutely do this step, with your baby wipe, but just know that when you do white paint with a baby wipe, it's very translucent. It's not like stark white. And so unless you want a very distressed looking pumpkin, which you totally can have, I recommend using the foam brush and just go ahead and paint that up. You'll paint the entire thing. You'll take your little add-on pieces that we talked about when we first started this video, and you'll assemble him to your liking. You know, I took the hat and I glued on the cardinal, and I also glued on a snowflake. But you don't have to do that. You can do this however you would like. And you'll glue all of him together. And then that's it. The last step is the final touches. You have a little piece of twine. That's for your leaves. You can just string those leaves right here in this twine and tie it onto your pumpkin top so that the leaves sit there. You can also glue them on if you don't want to use the string. And then last but not least, we're going to go ahead and attach our Velcro to our hat and our snowman. So if we keep our pumpkin displayed, we can't have the hat on because you'll see it. So we use Velcro for that. You'll just have to store your Velcroed hat during the fall when your pumpkins are displayed. And so to attach your hat super easily, once it's painted, obviously, you'll flip it over and you'll take one piece of Velcro, whichever you choose, it doesn't matter, and you'll attach it here to the back. Then you will just simply take the next piece and stick it right here on top, pull back so the adhesive is exposed, and then you'll go ahead and just stick it right on wherever you would like. Then you'll pull the hat off. So one piece of Velcro remains on the pumpkin, the snowman's head, and then you'll be able to just plop it off so that you don't see it when the pumpkin is out and displayed. And that's really it, guys. Oh, there's one more. But wait, there's more. The last step is our stand. Now, you can paint this whatever color you want. You can leave it just as it is. It's completely up to you. Just note that you only have to paint one of the two slotted stands here because one just gets glued right on top of the other. Just play around before you glue because you want to make sure that it's flipped so that it lines up perfectly. If you have it turned another way and you can still see something that shouldn't be there, like see how I can still see some of that, you know it's the wrong way. So just make sure you don't see anything under, it lines up perfectly. Go ahead and glue that together, and then you'll go ahead and glue that right on top of this. And you're eyeballing it. I mean, just get as close to the center as you can. And once that's all glued, this will just sit right on in there. If for any reason this gives you a hard time setting into this base, it's possible that you've made this piece a little too heavy with paint. That happens sometimes on the snowman side. If that's the case, just take a little bit of sandpaper and sand it down and it'll fit completely flush here in the stand and stand right up. Or just be careful when you're painting it. Make sure you don't get too much here in the base. Other than that, that's it. You can get as creative with this as you would like. Thank you so much for purchasing this kit, and please send me pictures, tag the studio, or even send me a private message with your final product. That's my favorite part of this whole thing, and I love seeing it all finished up. Thank you guys so much. Any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Bye.